Welcome to Amateur Redneck Workshop. I'm Harold, and I hope everybody's doing pretty good with the virus and all that. Nobody's sick or dying here, so we're doing good. I'm getting all stir crazy. The boss lady's got me on local lockdown. My shooting club is open. I could go there and practice, but she won't let me go. She said it doesn't matter what we want, we're not getting out of the house. And so there you are, which is kind of a pain. But anyway, I know that several of you probably didn't get updated on my new mill, but as you know, I had a problem with a broken x-axis scale when it came in. I discovered that, and I got to say that I called Precision Matthews and I explained to them what I found and why I felt like it was shipped broken from somewhere, and they didn't argue with me or nothing. They just said, well, we'll order a new scale from the factory. And sure enough, eventually a new scale came from the factory, and I installed it, and now I can use the mill. I hadn't actually used it for anything except I got a 3-inch hole saw, and I cut a hole in a piece of aluminum, and I'd cut a couple of dovetails that I only needed just the y-axis, for measuring, and that was all I had used on it. And so now, since I got all the goodies, well, I've done several little jobs on it, and I'm really happy with Precision Matthews for their excellent service. And speaking of people with excellent service, I've got this mill wheel. I'm going to move the camera around by hand here and set it down. And I got this mill wheel here, quill wheel, and it come from Mr. Jim Enos, and I kind of think I saw Jim Deadman's hand in it, because he sent me an email talking about it before I got a notice that it was coming. And anyway, I didn't have any previous Bridgeport experience or anything, and so I thought, well, who needs that? I got the regular handle on it and stuff. And then after I got it, and after I got to using the mill here this past week or so, I come to realize this is pretty dang handy, And I was watching Uchel. I don't know what the name of his channel is right now. I'll try and find it and put it down in the bottom of the video. But anyway, I was watching him, and he's got a PM949 mill, and he said, well, the wheel gets in the way of the gear shift, and I said, well, yeah, it does. So Mr. Jim Enos, without me saying a word to him, sent me a spacer to go, a free spacer to go in behind the free quill wheel, and you can't beat service like that either. And I really appreciate it, and I've come to realize that that is a pretty neat thing. Okay, all right, now we're going to move on to some other stuff. All right, some of you guys won't like the next part because you're not interested in it, or maybe again it, but since it's my video, I'm going to do it, and it's only going to take a couple of minutes anyway. Back in, I don't know, January or February, one or the other, I went down and got one of these guys. They were on sale for $99, as I recall. What this is a this is a Heritage Arms Rough Rider, and it's a copy of a cowboy gun, back from the 1880s. And when I say it's a copy of a cowboy gun, I mean it's single action. If you want to fire it, you got to pull the hammer back. And oh, I know, safety Nazis, you want to see, if you look right down here, you get it on the right spot, you got to go back 1, 2 cocks there. You can see there's no ammo in it at all. Anyway, back to what we was talking about. One of my in-laws has one of these that he got, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And I went out with him out to his son-in-law's place, and we set up some tin cans. And we weren't but about 10-15 feet from the cans, and I couldn't hit a can one. I know I'm a bad shot, but I ain't that bad a shot. So pretty sure his sights were horrible. This one, the sights are dead on, which is a good thing because there's not any adjustment to the rear sight. It's just a notch in the frame, and the front sight is just stuck in the metal there. You can't adjust it either unless you get a pair of pliers and bend it. But this thing is just dead on, and it's got something that I haven't ever seen on a revolver before. That may be on a lot of them and I don't know it, but it's got a safety. Actually a safety. When you pull it down that way, it's ready to fire, and you can see the little red dot right there. It says, see, everything's dangerous. And then you pull it up like that, and the hammer doesn't go down onto anything, because I don't know if you can see it, but right there's a little bar that goes across. Maybe if I move it, you can see the little bar real good. And that little bar stops the hammer before it can hit the firing pin. You can't get much safer than that. Now, I admit this is not a significant pistol. You know, you don't get much for $99, but this darn thing is a lot of fun. I took it out to the range, and like I said, it's just dead on. If I was back in line with all those tin cans, I wouldn't miss one of them. I was lucky in that respect. I'm not crazy about the stock, all of the stars. I wanted the plain brown wood, you know, but beggars can't be choosers, I guess, or people buy stuff on sale. But it's a 22 caliber. It's not a real gun. At least that's what the gun snobs look at it like. I was at the range the other day practicing, and a guy come out to me and said, yeah, he says, you wouldn't be safe to walk around the block with a 22, you know. And sure, it's just a tiny little bullet, but it's still just a lot of fun. And it won't bankrupt you using it for competitions or things like that. Not that there's any competitions I know of where you use this, but it's just a toy, you know. I'll be glad when I'm not quarantined here or under lockdown or whatever you want to call it, so I can go out and play with it some more. It shoots 22 shorts, 22 longs, and 22 long rifles. And if you cough up about another $30 or $40, you can get a cylinder for it to shoot 22 magnums. So, yeah, all right. Told you just a second talking about that, and then we'll move on to something else. Now, one of the things I was using the mill for was milling out some of this aluminum and using it for a highly wonderful, accurate drill press that I could move so many spaces and drill the holes all in the right spot. But I made a mount for this new torch, one that holds straight up, and it's a spring-loaded mount. And I'll demonstrate it here if I get around the tripod without kicking it. You've got a spring right here on one side, and so this guy can move, not a lot, but it moves 3/8 an inch, half an inch, I guess about half an inch. I think maybe that spring might be a little bit strong, but nevertheless what it does is, if the torch height control malfunctions or doesn't move fast enough, and it runs up on the metal, it'll let the torch lift up, you know, instead of just dragging in and jerking and jumping and causing a lot of trouble. And I've got a little video that I'll insert in about here showing me, you know, trying to tune the torch height controller, because this torch has got totally different characteristics from the one that I was using in the first place. And cutting sheet metal with it is a totally different experience. You can see here I tried to cut out the words outside screwball, and I just blasted the heck out of it. So I cut the amperage some, and I come back and tried again and just blasted the heck out of the sheet metal. This is where I was cutting with the old torch. You can see it did a pretty good job of cutting out that jolly wrencher, but now I'm starting all over to learn exactly how to use this thing. And that is my last piece of sheet metal. Boss lady won't let me go down to the place and buy some more. And I looked at it online. I wanted some 16 gauge 4x8 sheet of it. If I ordered, I thought, well, I could have them cut it up into 12 by 24 pieces. And I thought, well, maybe I'll order 2 of them. And I put it on the list and put it in the cart. And son of a gun, it come to $184. So I just deleted that whole order. Seemed like a lot of money for 16 gauge sheet metal, but there you go. Anyway, so my tuning's pretty much at an end here because I'm running out of sheet metal. I was trying to make a stencil for Chuck. Let me see if I can see that. I can see what you guys are seeing. Let me zoom this thing back. Trying to make a stencil for Chuck, and it cuts out the most of it pretty good. And it gets down to the letters, and it kind of blasts them a little bit. You know, I mean, it would work, but I'm kind of ashamed of that. I'm not going to send that to Chuck, you know. So I'll have to work on tuning the thing up a little bit and getting it right. He's sending me some sheet metal in a bag, package, box, priority shipment, whatever. And we'll get back to this, okay, at that time. So I guess that's probably about it. Well, it seems like Bubba had this cousin Skinny that had a reputation as being probably the biggest liar in 6 states, you know. Just anything old Skinny said was a lie. All the time, day and night, whatever. You wake him up and he'd start out with a lie. So one day Bubba and his uncle Bubba was sitting around talking about it, and they decided, well, maybe if they showed him how ridiculous it was, you know, by telling him an absolutely unbelievable lie, that he'd, you know, maybe catch on and stop lying so much. So they went over and looked up, you know, cousin Skinny, and they said, you know, Skinny, this is Sunday we was in church, and sitting there, he said, all of a sudden the church doors busted wide open, and a grizzly bear come running up the aisle. He said there was a little Chihuahua dog chasing him up the aisle. He said when they got up the front and the bear was cornered, that dog, a little Chihuahua dog, killed that grizzly right there in front of us and ate the whole thing. And he says, can you believe that? And Skinny says, yeah. He says, I reckon I can. He says, that was my dog. Well, that's all, folks. Y'all try to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Leave a comment if you got something to say. And above all, remember, keep on keeping on. Bye now.